Hola, welcome to Poco. Hi, Gaetano. How's it going?
Es bueno, Tanya. ¿Y tú?
It's good. It's good. It's good. It's
It's good.
warm.
It's warm. It is
Yeah, but
warm.
not too warm.
It's shorts and sweater weather, which is my
Yes.
favorite. Like a little cotton sweater and some shorts, and you're good to go. And maybe you take the sweater off and wrap it around your shoulders. I love
Which
it.
is what I did earlier because I took Blaze out early and I needed a sweater. And then quite quickly I was like, oh no, this is now I don't need it anymore. But I thought about it, so it's like still cool in the morning
It's
and the
cool in
orange
the morning, it's cool at
blossoms
night, and the,
bringing
the day
in.
is
Yeah,
perfect.
it's perfect. Yeah. But it's hot in the sun, I will say.
It is hot in the sun. I did something, side note, this isn't really Poco, but I did go to the park the other day and lay out for like an hour. Like
You're one of those people.
uh,
I saw them the other day. I was like, maybe you should like lay out in private till you have a tan. I don't know.
No,
That's
I
not
mean,
cool to tell
there were solar flares coming from my body. I am so
right?
pasty that like people were
I saw
shielding
the
their
flares
eyes.
from
Yes.
here. That's all right. How you gonna get some color without laying out in the sun? No,
You
it's
got
that
to
kind of
start
weather.
somewhere. But
Yes.
it was sad how white my legs are.
Well, speaking of laying out in the sun, if you go down to the City of Arts and Sciences, which is what we're going to talk about today, it's all beautiful. There's lots of grass around there, lots of people laying around having picnics. It's like that is probably right now there's loads of people laying out there.
There are, and what I love about the City of Arts and Sciences is that they have these pools that surround all the buildings, right? So,
Yes.
it's the we've done an episode on the Turia before. I think that was one of our first Poco Pocos.
Hmm.
And so at the end of the Turia, on one side is the City of Arts and Sciences, but they have all these pools, which is to mimic what the river once was, right? So
Yeah.
it's beautiful and it's so white and gorgeous. But they have like activities in the summer in the water, and we've never partaken of it. They have like
Oh yeah,
paddle
you can do the
boarding.
paddle things and stuff. I do want to it is very enticing to just get in and walk because it's not deep,
Right.
right? It's one of these it's a very shallow pool. And I think right now the arts and sciences is kind of the end of the Toria, and but
Hmm.
there is a long-term plan to expand to the water, the end
To
of
the
the other
port. Yeah.
part after the arts and sciences, which I think eventually that will be really nice because right now it's a beautiful place to ride a bike or take a walk, really nice long walk through the whole river that used to be there. So, in
Hmm.
case anyone didn't listen to our other Poco at Poco, this area of Valencia that used to be the river, the Turia River that ran through Valencia, that overflowed, devastating the city in 1957. And then it eventually took some time. It was an empty riverbed for a long time, and then they eventually developed it into this beautiful park.
Right. We had discussed before that they were going to put a
Yeah.
highway through it
Yeah,
instead
that
of
would have been awful.
awful, awful. So glad the community got involved and said no.
Yeah.
But they had this portion. Like, what are they going to do with it? And they were discussing in the 80s and 90s what to do with this area of it, and that they needed something to be a draw of
Educational.
Valencia, to put Valencia
Yeah.
on the map,
Hmm.
right? And
Yes, be a destination, and it is. It really is. But there was a lot going on getting there because they wanted a cultural and scientific complex, but the process of getting to what we see now, it wasn't all pretty.
no, these things never are because it is a big complex of buildings. It was a
Hmm.
huge architectural and engineering undertaking. I mean, when you look at the Opera House, it's almost like how did they build it? Because the way
Right.
it cantilevers over and it's the structure itself is it's so beautiful and it's all designed so it's all designed by Santiago Calatrava. So if people aren't aware of him, he's got buildings and bridges all over the world.
Hmm.
He's
And Felix Candela. Let's not leave him out.
okay, we won't leave him out, but he was more involved in the oceanographic, which is
Hmm. But that's all part of the
it's
whole
part of it, but
thing. Yeah.
yeah, but it's at the end of it, so it's easy.
Mhm.
If you're not doing the oceanographic, it's easy to not know it's there, right? If you're coming from the city, you don't see it because it's another bridge you have to pass to get to the oceanographic.
Maybe if you're walking, I mean, if you're driving, it's very difficult to miss because I mean, but the whole structure, if you're driving, which is like you're probably walking down there and I'm driving down there, right? So when you drive into it, I mean, you have to pass down the middle of the whole thing and you see everything. So definitely a totally different experience you would have if you walked from the city down to it, because like you said, then the oceanographic is on the other side of these
Right.
massive buildings, right? But
Yeah.
if you're driving, you're probably taking the bridge over the middle of it at some point or another. And it's really spectacular, and I think a hard thing to do because it's very modern. We'll get into that. Obviously, the look of it, and that's always controversial. When they
Right.
throw a modern building inside an old city, that's always, we think of the Louvre and the pyramid they put there. I mean, the controversy over that was insane. So I'm sure the controversy of this was equally.
And what I
Uh,
will say, it's a very modern structure, right? But it is one of those super modern, and it's an art piece. So it's not
mhm.
something that's dated because it is 20 years old now. But it's not dated. Look at the modern 60s is dated, right? Brutalism
Yeah,
is dated. This isn't dated.
right.
This is an art piece, right?
It really is the whole thing, and it is something, and I think it's not just a modern building. The aquarium is a fish coming out of the ground. I mean, it's just really unique, and this
Mhm.
isn't what it was going to be. So initially, it was let's say we had a budget.
Okay.
I don't know what the original budget was, but it was somewhere between 150 and 300 million, which is a lot of money. And this was what this was going to be. And it was going to be a three building plan. There was going to be a 370-meter high communications tower, which was going to be the third highest in the world. There was going to be a planetarium and a museum of science. And this was what was going to happen.
Hmm.
And what happened?
Well, Calatrava, who I love, is also notorious for huge cost overruns. So they went four times over budget, and
When you say huge cost overrun, I don't think this even like
that's not a cost overrun. No,
clarifies.
it's
We're talking a billion. We went into a billion.
we went to a billion, yes, and but and so it was very controversial, as it was, as these things are when society finds out how much money is being and has to keep being poured into something and they were
Yeah,
promised. So people definitely get angry, but in the original plan then got scrapped because when governments change, the new egos come in, and in
right.
1996 is when they changed, or they scrapped the plan and then decided that they wanted an opera house and what we have now.
Yeah, and that's when the communications tower was scrapped as well. And then, yeah, and funnily enough, the foundations had already been poured for the communications tower. So I'm not sure exactly where on the arts and sciences that was, but they must have either, so they had to repurpose that.
Right.
And and then you get the opera house, which is one of the most amazing structures, and also the stuff that goes on there. I mean, it's just, I think that's maybe a good plan, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm happy with the plan for sure. All of the structures are beautiful. Do
They
we want
are the only issue with the Palo de las Arts. They faced probably the most issues resulting from flooding and repairs and outside of the buildings falling off and this type of thing. I
Yeah,
think
and
that was probably the one that had the biggest issues. But I mean, when you look at the whole area, I suppose maybe it's not so bad that's going to happen.
the opera house is covered in these like white mosaic tiles. I mean, the whole plaza is also got the white mosaic tiles and the
Hmm.
pools and stuff.
Yeah.
But those were, uh, I think part of it was the heat from the sun hitting the tiles on the metal frame, too much expanding and
Oh,
contracting,
right.
and they were
Yeah.
cracking off and falling and conking people on the heads, I'm sure. So,
That must be fun. And it's not just the building. So when you talk about the architecture of the whole area, you've got these amazing buildings, but also the landscape around it. And you talked
hmm.
about the pools. I mean, so the whole area was designed, and it really has, I think, had a massive impact on Valencia visually. It's a massive tourist destination. And then, also the things that can be done there. And it's basically what I was saying earlier about it not just being a modern buildings, that the architecture was heavily inspired by nature. So you
Hmm.
have one of the buildings is shaped like a giant eye, which is what we were sort of talking about it. The museum, also
Science museum.
the
Yep.
science museum, and
Well, the
then
science
we have
museum looks like a whale skeleton. That
looks
was.
like a whale skeleton, which is really, it's so cool. And then
Hmm.
there's lots of structures that look like flowers and shells and wings and different forms if you were to sort of really look at it. So it's not just like, oh, this is a cool modern structure. It looks like nature, like various
Right.
parts of it. And it's really fascinating
To me, the opera house
things.
looks like one of those little sand crabs, those little mole
Oh,
crabs that we had in that we had in California, you know, that you like dig up the
right.
sand and then there'd be like 50 in your hand. And when we first moved here and we saw it, the girl's like,
When you
that's a
saw
sand
that, that's what it
crab. I'm like,
reminded
it
you.
totally looks like one.
But it also people think that it looks like a helmet. Some people think it looks like a futuristic, spaceship or something. So that's also one of these beautiful things about these modern buildings. It's different things to different people, for
And
sure.
and your Star Wars fans would know it because they use it for one
Yes.
of those. I'm not a Star Wars fan, but I know they use it for one of the series. I know nothing about Star Wars, but my friends
It
who are
is
into Star Wars are like, it's from the whatchamacallit. I'm like, okay, whatever you say.
it is a really good backdrop for a futuristic film, for sure. Yeah.
Can I say what I really, an aspect of the City of Arts and Sciences that I really like about it is that there's no entrance. I love that you approach the
Mm.
whole complex from all angles and you're in
Yes,
it.
that's true.
You know,
Yeah.
like if you like think about something like Lincoln Center, there is a front entrance that you come into, and this gathers, you can come from all points of the city and gather to it, which I think is really nice. It really blends in with
Hmm.
the city. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you know,
Well, with the park, I mean, you
yeah,
you come like there's not like a place where the park stops and this starts. It's like you come
right.
in, you can, like you said, you can come in from the street, you can come in from the park. Obviously each of the buildings have entrances, but it is just sitting in the park. There's
Mm-hmm.
a building over here, there's water here, there's a building over here, and it's not like, okay, you're entering the arts and sciences. No, it's like you're in the park and you're going, like I've gone to the IMAX theater there a bunch of times when Xena was younger, and they have great IMAX movies for kids, like
Mm-hmm.
educational ones, like the space, the underwater ones, like all this kind of thing, and you can get headsets for different languages, so anybody can go. So that's a huge draw, and it really like amazing movies.
We have,
And
you know, it's sad to say we have yet to go to the IMAX theater or the
oh, you have to
planetarium as well. Yeah,
go.
we haven't done either
I
of
mean, they're
those.
just like 45 minutes long or something. I
Oh, I
think you can,
know they're
yeah.
right down the road, but you know.
You're just like walking around the place and looking at the water and
And you know what's also nice about it is that it's open 24 hours. I mean, not the buildings themselves, but because there is no
yeah.
entrance and it's part of the park, you can walk and walking
Hmm.
around it in the middle of the night, the way the lights are reflected on the buildings,
Right.
it's really a beautiful
It's really
nighttime
pretty.
stroll.
And you've been to fireworks there too, because they have really good fireworks at certain times of
Yeah,
year.
like the
Oh,
main
it's a good
ones at
place
the
to
end of
see.
Fias are there, the New Year's Eve ones.
Hmm.
They do a lot of like the big ones that they can't do in the center of the city are done there, and they are.
Yeah,
And to
yeah.
see the light reflecting off the white tiles of the opera house is,
Hmm.
it's just so pretty.
And there is a science museum. I have to say, I'm sorry, I haven't been in and walked around it. I know Zena's gone there for school a few times, but so that's also there. I just haven't
Right, it's there. And
gone.
I'm like you, I have not been, but my daughters have gone a couple
Right.
times, so I have
And I
no
do
idea
love a
about it.
natural history museum. I don't know what's there. I don't think that's exactly what it is, but there is a science museum there that's I'm sure, worth going to.
Yeah, and from what I understand from the girls, I was like, should we go again? And it's one of those interactive ones, so it's
Hmm.
child friendly. It's
Yeah.
not like a natural history museum. I don't think there's a lot of info. Like there, we have another very small natural history museum further up the park, but
Yeah. I have been to the oceanographic on several occasions, and then Xena's been even more, because again, that's another destination. It is
right.
the largest aquarium in Europe, and it is a spectacular, again, it's a bunch of little buildings and different things that you can kind of walk around, and they have, if you haven't been there, you've probably seen videos of the tunnel that goes through the water there.
Hmm.
And that has, so you're in the tunnel and it's got the sort of the sharks and the rays and other fish and stuff like just floating around you, and it is a really cool experience.
It's really cool. And what's also great about the oceanographic is a lot of is underground and
Hmm.
indoors, and you don't even notice. Like once you go down, it's you don't even notice. Like there's this park-like area up top, and then the
Right.
stuff underground, but it's seamless as well.
Yeah.
And then there's like two belugas just hanging out
Right.
down there as well, and all these jellyfish, which I loved about it. You walk in and
I
there's just
love the
jellyfish
jellyfish.
everywhere. It's very
Yes.
cool.
Yeah, that is what's really nice about it. You have this beautiful building of the kind of the mouth of a big whale coming out of the ground, and then it's park. And then, like you said, so much of it is underground that you're kind of not feeling like you're walking into this massive building. You just
Right.
never don't get that feeling there. It's very clever.
It is. I'm pleased with it.
You're pleased with it. I've been there also for a conference. They do conferences there in the main big building. And I also accidentally ended up on a Star Wars convention thing there and couldn't get through. And I was like, I'm just going to go down to the arts and sciences today. And we got stuck in this massive. Oh my gosh.
But you know
Yeah.
what's at the aquarium that I have yet to go to, and I recommended it to a friend because they were looking for a romantic evening. There's a restaurant in
There
the
is a restaurant there.
like a
Yeah.
fancy one, like it's a date night restaurant. Like
Right.
it's
Totally. I would love to do that one day. It looks amazing. I'm assuming it's always open, but I feel like I went there one time and it wasn't, or maybe they were renovating or something. But that
mm,
was many years ago. But that's one of those restaurants where you almost feel like you're in an underwater submarine because
the
they've
tanks
got
all
the
around it.
glass and the tanks
So
all
you know what?
around.
I have a suggestion. Why don't you and I ignore our families and we just take
I love it.
ourselves there for dinner one night? You
I think
know,
we should.
they won't appreciate it. No.
I think our Spain needs that, right?
I think Spain needs an Spain moment. Yes.
Totally. Good idea. Well, I think that's pretty much, I mean, there's a lot more about it. You have to visit it, but that's pretty much the logistical, technical stuff that we can share, I think, about
I
the.
think so. I mean, we don't want to bog them down with like dates and numbers, right?
No,
That's
and
not fun.
employment and how great it is for the city and these sorts of things.
No, we don't need all that. But go
Okay, well,
down.
that's it.
It,
Yeah,
it is the Eiffel Tower of Valencia, right? It is the
it
symbol of
is.
the city.
Yes, definitely.
Well, on
And
that
yeah,
note, Tanya,
till next time.
till next time.
Bye.
Ciao.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Our Spain.
We really appreciate all the support we have received since we started this podcast.
Visit ourspain.com for transcripts to this and our other episodes, some exciting merchandise, and if you are so inclined, there is also a link to buy us a coffee, which helps support this fun endeavor.
And please follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Spain Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to us wherever you're listening.
It really helps us stay connected, and we'd love to hear from you.
Let us know if there's any topics you would like for us to talk about. Even though we are happy to talk about anything, we also want to make sure it's informative for you.
Exactly.